What if I told you that certain crystals don't just sit silently in your room, but actively pull, shift, and realign energy around you, like an invisible magnet shaping your reality? Not metaphorically, but energetically, subtly, and consistently, influencing your emotions, your thoughts, and even your outcomes, without you realizing it. In this deep dive, we are not going to talk about surface-level crystal meanings. No generic "this stone brings love" type knowledge. This is raw, layered, energetic understanding, the kind that only reveals itself when you observe, experience, and truly work with crystals over time. Today, we are decoding magnetic crystals, what makes a crystal magnetic, how they interact with your biofield, and how you can use them intentionally to shift your internal state, your aura, and your external reality. First, understand this clearly. When we say magnetic crystals, we are not always talking about physical magnetism like iron attracting metal. We are talking about energetic magnetism, the ability of certain crystals to attract, amplify, absorb, or redirect energy patterns. Your body itself is electromagnetic. Your heart emits a measurable field. Your brain produces frequencies. Every thought, every emotion, carries a vibration. Now imagine placing a crystal, which has a stable and consistent vibrational structure, into this fluctuating human field. What happens? It begins to influence, stabilize, or sometimes even disrupt your energy, depending on the nature of that crystal. Let's begin with one of the most powerful magnetic crystals, magnetite. Magnetite is one of the few crystals that is naturally magnetic in the physical sense. But beyond that, it has an incredible ability to align your internal polarity. If you feel scattered, indecisive, energetically drained, magnetite works like an anchor. It pulls your energy back into your body, grounding you into the present moment. It doesn't add energy. It organizes it. And that's the difference most people don't understand. Not all crystals give you energy. Some correct your energy flow. Now, let's talk about hematite. Hematite is often misunderstood as just a grounding stone. But its magnetic property lies in its ability to absorb excess emotional charge. If you are overwhelmed, overthinking, emotionally reactive, hematite acts like a sponge. It pulls out the chaotic frequencies from your aura and brings you back to neutrality. But here's something deeper. If you overuse hematite, you might start feeling emotionally flat. Why? Because it doesn't just remove negativity, it can also dull intensity if not balanced properly. This is why conscious usage matters. Now, moving to pyrite, often called fool's gold. Pyrite is not physically magnetic, but energetically, it is highly attractive. It pulls abundance frequencies, confidence, and action-oriented energy. Think of pyrite as a manifestation magnet. But here's the raw truth. Pyrite doesn't magically bring money. It aligns you with the mindset and energy that attracts opportunities. It strengthens your solar plexus energy, your willpower, your ability to take decisive action. Without action, pyrite does nothing. With action, it amplifies results. Now let's go even deeper, into lodestone. Lodestone is essentially magnetized magnetite, but energetically, it carries a much stronger pull. Historically, lodestone has been used in rituals for attraction, not just love, but money, luck, and opportunities. Why? Because lodestone doesn't just align your energy, it actively draws external energy toward you. But here's the catch. It amplifies whatever intention you hold. If your intention is clear, focused, and emotionally charged, lodestone becomes powerful. If your intention is confused, it amplifies confusion. This is why intention clarity is not optional, it is essential. Now, let's shift perspective. Magnetic crystals don't work in isolation. They interact with your belief system, your subconscious patterns, your emotional state. If you are holding resistance, doubt, or fear, even the most powerful crystal will reflect that back to you. Because crystals don't override your energy, they respond to it. Another important aspect, placement. Where you place a magnetic crystal changes its effect completely. On the body, it interacts directly with your chakras and biofield. In your environment, it influences the energy flow of that space. Near your workspace, It can increase focus or pressure, depending on the crystal. Under your pillow, it can affect your subconscious processing and dreams. There is no one-size-fits-all usage. Everything depends on your intention, your sensitivity, and your current energetic state. Now, let's talk about something rarely discussed. Energy overload. Yes, you can actually overwhelm yourself with crystals. Especially magnetic ones. If you use too many at once, your energy field can become overstimulated. This can show up as restlessness, headaches, emotional swings, or even sudden fatigue. This is not the crystal harming you, it's your system trying to adjust to too many frequencies at once. So what's the solution? Simplicity. Awareness. Observation. Start with one crystal. Notice how you feel. Track your emotions, your thoughts, your reactions. Because the real power is not in the crystal. It's in your awareness of how it interacts with you. Now let's go deeper, beyond the surface, beyond the obvious, into the real mechanics of how magnetic crystals influence your life. You've already understood that crystals don't randomly bless you, they interact with your energy. So the next question is, how do you actually use them in a way that creates visible, undeniable shifts? Let's begin with intention programming. This is where most people go wrong. They hold a crystal, say a few words, and expect transformation. That's not programming, that's hoping. Programming a crystal is not about speaking, it's about imprinting. When you hold a magnetic crystal, especially something like lodestone or magnetite, your emotional state becomes the signal. If your mind says, "I want abundance," but your body feels fear, the crystal receives fear, not abundance. Because energy does not follow words, it follows dominant emotion. So when you program a crystal, you don't just think, you embody. You sit still, you slow your breath, you bring your body into a state where your desire already feels real. Only then, you hold the crystal. And in that moment, without forcing, without overthinking, you let that feeling sink into the stone. That is programming. Now, let's talk about pairing magnetic crystals. Certain combinations can either amplify your results, or completely cancel each other out. For example, magnetite with hematite. This combination is extremely grounding, almost too grounding. It can stabilize you, yes, but it can also reduce motivation if you are already low on energy. Now compare that with pyrite and lodestone. This is a high attraction combination. One builds internal drive, the other pulls external opportunities. Used correctly, this pairing can shift your momentum very quickly. But again, only if your actions align. Because no crystal can replace action. It can only enhance alignment. Now, something even deeper, timing. Yes, timing matters. Your energy is not the same every day. Some days you are open, receptive, powerful. Other days you are closed, heavy, resistant. Using magnetic crystals during emotionally intense states can either create breakthroughs or amplify chaos. So what do? You learn to read yourself. If you feel unstable, overwhelmed, start with grounding crystals like hematite. If you feel clear, focused, ready to act, then bring in pyrite or lodestone. This is not about blindly using crystals, this is about working with your energy intelligently. Now let's address a truth that many people avoid. Dependency. If you start believing that you need crystals to feel stable, confident, or successful, you are giving away your power. Crystals are tools, not sources. They support your energy, they do not replace it. The moment you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing crystals, and you start using them with authority. Another layer, cleansing. Magnetic crystals absorb and interact with energy constantly. Over time, they can hold dense or stagnant frequencies. If you don't cleanse them, their effect becomes dull, sometimes even heavy. Simple methods work. Running water, sunlight, moonlight, or even just holding the crystal with clear intention and resetting its energy. But remember, cleansing is not a ritual, it's maintenance. Just like your mind needs rest, your energy tools need clearing. Now, let's move into something powerful, placement with intention. If you keep pyrite near your workspace, it begins to influence your decision-making energy, pushing you toward action. If you place hematite near your bed, it grounds your subconscious, reducing overthinking patterns. If you carry lodestone with you, it subtly shifts how people respond to your presence, how opportunities appear, how conversations unfold. This is not magic, this is energetic influence over time. Consistency is the key. Not intensity. Not obsession. Consistency. Now pause for a second, and really understand this. Magnetic crystals are not here to change your life overnight. They are here to train your energy, to bring awareness, to help you notice patterns you were ignoring. And once you start noticing, you start shifting. And once you start shifting, your reality follows. Because at the deepest level, you are the magnet. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they are constantly attracting experiences into your life. Crystals simply make this process visible, faster, and sometimes, unavoidable. So the real question is not, which crystal should I use? The real question is, are you ready to become conscious of what you are already attracting? Because once you see it, clearly, honestly, without filters, you cannot go back. And that's where real power begins. Most people will watch this, feel inspired for a moment, and then go back to living unconsciously, blaming luck, timing, or circumstances. But a very few, will actually apply this knowledge. They will observe their energy, work with intention, use these crystals with awareness, and slowly, steadily, they will start noticing something undeniable. Their reactions will change. Their decisions will sharpen. Their environment will respond differently. Opportunities will feel closer, more natural, almost as if life itself is aligning with them. And that's the point where it hits you, deeply, powerfully. It was never just about the crystals. It was about you becoming the magnet.